Hi, I'm Mehek. I'm a qualified hypnotherapist and I specialise in helping women who suffer with eczema to manage their stress and anxiety, boost their self-esteem, find inner peace and guide them to healing their skin. And I'm here to share my own personal story with eczema. So I never had eczema as a child. The first time I noticed it was when I was maybe 16 years old going through my GCSE exams, and there was a lot of pressure on me to do well, and I also put a lot of pressure on myself to do well. But that was the first time I noticed it, and it was nothing major. It was just like a mild rash, and it sort of went away by itself, I think, after I completed my exams. But after that, I started to notice a similar pattern. So whenever I was going through a stressful time or struggling emotionally, my eczema would reappear. And this sort of went on for a few years, but it was so on and off and it didn't really impact my life too much. So it didn't really bother me up until 5 years ago when my eczema suddenly became very severe and debilitating. So it felt like it came out of nowhere because my skin just took a turn for the worse, and it was so extremely bad that I was in shock to what was happening to my body. And looking back now, I can see that there was a bit of a lead up to that happening. But at the time, it really did feel like it came out of nowhere and I was in complete shock. I remember exactly how I felt and the day that I noticed it become so severe. So I woke up one morning and my hands were like extremely red, raw, swollen. It looked like my hands had been burnt, and in fact, a GP even said to me that it looks like I've got burnt hands, and I'm laughing about it now, but at the time it was so traumatic and I was in complete shock to what was happening to my body. So then I went on a very long and mentally exhausting process of trying to find answers for my skin, to try to find a cure. And I tried everything. I went on these crazy restrictive diets. I gave up so much. I even gave up coffee, which I thought I would never do. But that just shows like how bad I was, because I was willing to try anything. And I would never give up coffee now. But at the time, I was desperate because I thought I cannot live my life this way. And because it was on my hands, it was so debilitating. I couldn't do day-to-day tasks. I was very conscious of the fact that it was visible. So even in the hot summer months when my eczema would be at its worst, of course, I was so paranoid and like self-conscious of anyone noticing my skin that I would wear long sleeves and like try to cover it up as much as I could. But with all those things that I tried, I just could never find any real solution or relief. And I'd get temporary relief here and there, but nothing that really worked. And this went on for quite some time. So I spent 3 years just trying to find answers and dealing with this condition. And there were times where my eczema wasn't as bad, but when I would have a flare up, it would be extreme. It would also be prone to infections. I had to take time off work. I was put on antibiotics multiple times. I was just terrified of what was happening to me because I thought this is not good for my body, and it's not good for me mentally to be taking time off work, missing out on my social life, being so scared to do anything because I know that it could trigger my skin. Because at the time I was so sensitive to everything and I didn't know what could trigger my skin. So 3 years of that, and it wasn't until I came across hypnotherapy that I started to find a way to heal. And I had 3 hypnotherapy sessions myself, but one of the most profound things that came out of it was understanding just how much stress I hold on to. And it wasn't just the stress. I believe that I stored so much negativity in my body. I had a buildup of negative emotions that needed to be released. And hypnotherapy did allow me to do that. And I also remember just feeling so peaceful and thinking, oh my God, like I can't remember the last time I felt this relaxed. But that in itself made so much difference because I would leave the sessions feeling so peaceful, so wonderful. And when my mind was calm, my body was calm. When my mind was at peace, my skin was at peace. So that was the first thing that sort of made me realize, okay, stress could be having an impact, but it didn't really sink in properly until I started to train as a hypnotherapist myself. And that's when it really sunk in because I gained such a deep understanding of myself through my training. I learned so much about myself, and it really hit me that actually my eczema is not related to diet, allergies, or anything wrong with me. It's just how I cope with stress and anxiety. And I am quite an anxious person, but I have learned how to manage my anxiety, especially with my training and the experiences that I've had throughout that. So once I noticed that pattern and realized that actually I have to start making changes, I tried a lot of different things to just keep my anxiety and stress at bay. But also, I had to make a few changes in my life. And just the fact that I was on the right path to having a career that I absolutely love made me so happy. And I think that made such a difference as well, because before that, I might have mentioned this before, but I felt very trapped in the lifestyle that I had. And I felt like there was no way of getting out of that. And I think that's what impacted me and made me have all these negative emotions that was stored up inside and building up all that toxic negativity. Um, so that is my story. And now I haven't had a bad flare up in over a year. In fact, it's been a year and a half, and I still get flare ups. It still comes every now and again, but nowhere near as bad. And even when it does now, I tell myself that it's okay. I've learned to accept myself. I'm thanking my eczema because it changed my life and it taught me so much about myself. It made me become a calmer, more peaceful person, and it's led me on this path actually. And now I'm a hypnotherapist helping other people struggling with this condition. So I'm so thankful. And I know that may be hard to hear for some people when I talk about thanking your eczema, because obviously it feels like your skin is against you, it feels like your body is under attack. But there's a message behind it, and especially if you're a person who's prone to getting stressed and overwhelmed easily, or if you have been through some past trauma that maybe still be lingering on inside of you, because that never goes away, that could also be contributing to it. And I'm aware that everyone is different, we all have different experiences, and there are so many different root causes of eczema. But what I do now is help those who believe that stress and anxiety is their main trigger, or if they're just struggling emotionally and mentally and just need a release to find some inner peace. So, having said all that, please do feel free to reach out if you have any questions, or if you would like to find out more about what I do now and how I can help you to healing your skin.